Over 2 million people currently living in the UK could soon be forced to leave legally, suddenly, and without warning. It sounds extreme, even impossible, but it's real. The UK government has introduced a new set of immigration rules for 2025, and they are stricter, faster, and far more unforgiving than anything we've seen before. We're talking about salary requirements so high that even experienced workers can't meet them. Post-study work visas that are being completely removed, visa fees that have jumped by thousands of pounds, and a system that now gives you fewer chances to make even the smallest mistake. Graduated from a UK university, you may now have just 60 days to get sponsored or leave. Missed one document in your visa renewal? You could be denied without appeal. Got into minor legal trouble? That alone might be enough for deportation. The harsh truth is that many people don't even know. These changes are happening until it's too late. So who exactly is at risk? What are the top 10 rule changes you need to understand right now? And more importantly, what can you do to protect your future? Stay with me, because the next few minutes could mean the difference between staying in the UK and being told to leave. Number 1. The salary rule that could end your stay in the UK. There's one number that's sending shockwaves through the UK's immigrant workforce. 38,700. That's the new minimum salary requirement for skilled worker visas effective from May 2025. If your income doesn't meet this threshold, you could be denied a visa, refused a renewal, or even told to leave the country, no matter how long you've lived here or how hard you've worked. Previously, the bar was set at $26,200. It wasn't easy, but many managed to meet it. Now, with the threshold raised by more than 12,000, entire industries are at risk. Care workers, hospitality staff, junior tech employees, thousands of people across cities like London, Birmingham, Leeds, and Manchester are suddenly vulnerable. This isn't just about new applicants. The new rule also applies to those already in the UK on skilled worker visas. When it's time to renew or extend your visa, your income must meet the new minimum. No exceptions. Even a small shortfall, as little as $500, could result in a denial. And employers, not all of them, will adjust salaries in team. This change doesn't just threaten paychecks, it threatens homes, families, futures. So if your income is below the new line, now is the time to act. Talk to your employer. Check if your role is listed under shortage occupations, which might have a lower threshold. Start gathering documentation that proves your value. Are you earning enough to stay? Tell us in the comments. How is this rule affecting you or someone you know? And make sure to subscribe because the next change might hit even closer to home. Number 2, no more grace period end of post-study work visa. For years, the UK's graduate route was a lifeline for international students. It gave them 2 full years after completing their degree to find a job, secure sponsorship, and begin building a life in the country they studied in. But starting from September 2025, that door will close quickly and permanently. The UK government has announced that the post-study work visa will be officially phased out. That means new graduates will no longer have the luxury of time. Instead of 24 months to explore opportunities, international students will now have just 60 days after completing their course to secure a skilled worker sponsorship. If they fail, they must leave the country. This shift hits especially hard in cities with large student populations, Manchester, Coventry, Glasgow, London, where thousands of international graduates contribute to local economies every year. The new rules will force students to treat graduation not as a celebration, but as a countdown. And there's another twist. Many UK employers are hesitant to sponsor fresh graduates. The process is expensive, paperwork heavy, and time-consuming. That means even qualified, hard-working students may find themselves with degrees in hand, but no legal way to stay. The impact isn't just economic, it's emotional. Imagine spending years studying, adapting, growing, only to be told that without a job offer already secured, your time is up. The dream of staying in the UK after graduation may now require months of preparation before the final semester even begins. With this rule change, waiting until the last minute is no longer an option. For international students, the race now starts much earlier, and the finish line is only 60 days away. Number 3, families left behind. New family visa barriers. For many immigrants in the UK, reuniting with family has always been the goal. Whether it's bringing a spouse, child, or dependent parent, the ability to build a life together was possible, though never easy. Now, it's about to become even harder. Under the new immigration rules taking effect from May 2025, the requirements for family visas are tightening dramatically. The sponsor, usually the person already living in the UK, must now earn a minimum of $38,700 per year, matching the new skilled worker salary threshold. That's a significant jump from the previous requirement and far beyond the reach of many full-time workers. But income alone is no longer enough. Sponsors must also prove they can sustain that income consistently for at least 5 years. Temporary contracts, freelance jobs, or frequent employment changes will now count against the application. The Home Office is demanding more than just a stable job. It wants a stable history. There's also greater scrutiny on proving genuine relationships. Simple documentation like shared bills, photos, or online messages won't carry as much weight anymore. Couples will be asked to provide deeper evidence, joint assets, shared financial responsibilities, long-term commitments that go beyond the surface. And it doesn't stop with partners. Children over the age of 18 must now show significant dependency, whether financial or medical, to qualify. This means families with older teens or adult children may find themselves forced to separate. In cities like Bradford, Leicester, and Cardiff, home to large immigrant families, these new rules are creating anxiety and heartbreak. One missing document, one shortfall in income, or one employment gap could mean separation that lasts for years. The path to family reunification is still there, but now it's narrower, steeper, and much easier to fall from. Number 4. Hidden costs. Visa application fees rise by 35%. Applying for a UK visa has never been cheap, but starting July 2025, it's about to become significantly more expensive. The government has announced a sharp increase in application fees, rising between 20% and 35% across nearly every visa category. For individuals and families already dealing with the high cost of living, this change is more than just an inconvenience. It's a major financial barrier. A standard skilled worker visa, which previously cost around $625, will now edge close to $820. Partner visa applications are expected to rise above $2,000. And that's before you even factor in other charges like the immigration health surcharge, priority processing, or biometric appointments. And if you're planning to bring your family with you, brace yourself. Each dependent will be charged the full updated fee. For a family of 4, the combined cost of applications alone could exceed $10,000 just to apply, not even counting living expenses or relocation costs. The government says This move is part of a plan to make the immigration system self-funding. In other words, migrants are expected to pay the full price of processing their own applications without relying on public funding. But the increase isn't just limited to new applicants. It also affects those renewing existing visas or switching visa categories. Even those applying for permanent residency will feel the impact. And there's no room for error. Failing to pay the exact amount, submitting a late payment, or missing an additional fee could now lead to an automatic rejection. No warnings, no second chances. For thousands of applicants across cities like Birmingham, Leeds, and London, the cost of staying in the UK is no longer just emotional. It's becoming financially unsustainable. Number 5. The English test barrier. Tougher language requirements. 4 years English language tests were required only for specific visa routes. Now that's changing. Beginning in late 2025, nearly every major UK visa category will require applicants to pass a more advanced government-approved English test. And for many migrants who've lived and worked in the UK 4 years, this sudden requirement could become a major obstacle. The new rules aren't just about conversational ability. Applicants will be tested on all 4 skills: reading, writing, listening, and speaking at a higher level than before. That means it's no longer enough to get by in daily life or at work. You'll need to prove that you can understand and communicate in complex academic-level English. This change will hit hardest among workers in care, hospitality, retail, and trade. People who may be fluent in spoken English but struggle with formal testing. In cities like Leicester, Bradford, and Luton, where many migrants have built their lives despite language challenges, the new barrier feels both sudden and overwhelming. The tests themselves aren't cheap either. Expect to pay between $150 and $300 per attempt, and most people won't pass on the first try. Preparation courses, practice exams, and travel to an approved test center all add to the cost. For families applying together, these expenses can multiply quickly. There are no exceptions in the new system. Experience in the UK, references from employers, or past visa approvals won't matter. If you fail the test, your application is rejected. No appeals. No second chances. In the government's eyes, this is about integration. But for thousands of hard-working migrants, it's another hurdle that could delay, disrupt, or completely derail their future in the UK. Number 6. Shortage list slashed. Fewer jobs qualify for sponsorship. 4 years. The UK's shortage occupation list acted as a safety net for migrants. It allowed workers in high-demand roles to apply for visas with lower salary thresholds and fewer barriers. But from August 2025, that safety net will shrink by nearly half. The government has announced a major cut to the list, removing or restricting roles across multiple industries. Jobs that were once in high demand, such as care workers, junior chefs, lab technicians, and IT support staff, are either being removed entirely or reclassified under stricter categories. Only specialist or senior-level roles in many fields will remain eligible for easier sponsorship. This change is set to impact cities like Glasgow, Nottingham, and Newcastle, where many employers rely heavily on international workers to fill vital positions. For many migrants in the sea areas, the shortage list was their only viable route into the UK job market. Without it, they now face significantly higher salary thresholds and more complex application processes. The effects won't just be felt by migrants. Employers are also bracing for consequences. With fewer eligible roles on the list, it will become more difficult and costly for businesses to sponsor overseas workers. In sectors like healthcare, construction, and hospitality already struggling with staff shortages, the pressure will only grow. For workers mid-application, the change could be sudden and disruptive. Roles that qualified last month may no longer meet the criteria today. And for those planning to apply in the near future, the ground beneath them is shifting fast. The government says the move is about encouraging local recruitment, but critics argue it ignores the reality of the labor market, placing even more strain on already stretched industries and closing off one of the last accessible routes for skilled migrants. Number 7. Zero-tolerance expanded deportation powers. Deportation has always been part of immigration enforcement, but starting from September 2025, the UK government is adopting a much tougher stance. New policies are expanding the Home Office's power to remove individuals from the country, and the bar for triggering deportation is now lower than ever. Under the updated rules, even minor offenses or administrative mistakes can lead to immediate deportation proceedings. A suspended prison sentence of just 6 months, multiple low-level offenses like repeated traffic violations, or even suspicion of breaching visa conditions can now be grounds for removal. And in many cases, there's no need for a formal conviction or a court order. One of the most alarming changes is the extended detention period. Immigration officers will have the power to detain individuals for up to 60 days without a hearing while their case is under review. Legal protections that previously gave people time to appeal, apply for bail, or gather documents are being scaled back or removed entirely. This policy will affect a wide range of people from students and skilled workers to long-time residents and even those with UK-born children. A delayed visa renewal, a late course enrollment, or a clerical error by an employer could now result in someone losing their legal status with little warning. The government justifies these changes as necessary for public safety and efficiency, but many legal experts and human rights groups warn that the real result will be more people being removed from the UK unfairly without due process. In a system with this little room for error, even a small oversight can lead to life-altering consequences. The new message is clear. One mistake and you could be out for good. Number 8, renewal trap. Tighter rules for extending visas. For many immigrants, visa renewal has long been treated as a routine step, a matter of paperwork and patience. But under the UK's new immigration rules for 2025, that process is becoming significantly more difficult. Renewing a visa will no longer be a simple extension. It will now be a fresh test of eligibility with far less margin for error. The new rules demand stricter documentation and tighter timelines. Anyone applying for a renewal must provide full proof of continuous employment without any gaps longer than 30 days. Even a short period between jobs or a temporary break can now result in a refusal. Financial documentation will also face closer scrutiny. Applicants must now supply complete financial records covering the entire visa period, not just recent months. Old pay slips, tax returns, and bank statements will all be required, and any inconsistency can lead to delays or outright rejections. Other updates include the requirement to resubmit language test scores and criminal background checks, even if those were provided during previous applications. And for students, the pressure is even greater. They must prove academic progress, course attendance, and financial stability throughout their studies. Perhaps most challenging is the shrinking submission window. Renewal applications must now be submitted at least 60 days before the visa's expiry. Miss that window even by a day, and the applicant's legal status could vanish overnight. These new requirements are creating high-stakes scenarios for individuals and families alike. A single missing document or overlooked deadline could mean the end of years of stability. The message is clear. Renewal is no longer a formality. It's a full reevaluation, and only those who are fully prepared will make it through. Number 9. Asylum system overhauled. Faster rejections, less support. The UK's asylum system is undergoing one of its most dramatic overhauls in decades. Effective from October 2025, a wave of new policies will drastically reduce the time, resources, and legal protections available to people seeking refuge. The stated goal is to deter what the government calls frivolous or unfounded claims. But for many genuine asylum seekers, these changes may close the door entirely. The most immediate shift is the deadline. Asylum seekers will now have just 30 days from their arrival in the UK to submit a complete application. Previously, they had up to 6 months. Failure to meet this strict deadline will result in an automatic rejection with no right to appeal. In addition, a fast-track rejection system will be introduced. Claims deemed clearly unfounded can be denied within just 10 working days, sometimes without a full hearing. Those who enter the UK through unofficial routes, such as by small boats or hidden in transport vehicles, will be automatically detained upon arrival while their cases are assessed. The right to work will be removed for all asylum seekers, regardless of how long they've been waiting. Legal aid will be restricted, available only in exceptional cases, and many applicants will have to represent themselves without professional support. Family reunification will also be harder. Only spouses and minor children under 18 will be eligible to join a successful claimant. Any extended family or adult children will not qualify no matter the circumstances. Critics warned that these reforms prioritize speed over fairness, pushing vulnerable individuals through a system where small mistakes or delays can result in permanent expulsion. In this new landscape, seeking safety is no longer about protection. It's a race against the clock. Number 10, healthcare or heartache. Immigrant NHS fee now $500 per adult. Access to health care in the UK has always come with a price for migrants. But starting in January 2026, that price will rise sharply. The Immigration Health Surcharge, IHS, a mandatory fee for most visa applicants, is set to increase to $1,500 per adult per year and $200 per child. That's nearly a 70% increase from the rates just a few years ago. This fee must be paid up front for the entire duration of a visa. For a family of 4 applying for a 3-year visa, that adds up to nearly $16,000 just to access the NHS. This doesn't include the cost of the visa itself, legal fees, translations, or document processing. It's a financial burden that's pushing many families to the edge. The IHS is not optional. Miss the payment or make an error in the amount and the entire visa application will be denied. There are no payment plans, no monthly options, and no second chances. Everything must be paid in full up front. The government justifies the fee by pointing to rising pressures on the NHS. However, critics argue that many migrants already contribute to the system through income tax, national insurance, and V8, just like any UK citizen. The surcharge, they say, amounts to double taxation for key workers. Those in health, social care, education. There are still no exemptions. Even migrants who work directly within the NHS must pay the same fee to use every service they support. This dramatic increase may force many to rethink their plans. For some, it's the final barrier in an already complicated immigration process. For others, it's a painful reminder that staying in the UK now comes with a price far beyond paperwork. It comes with sacrifice. These rule changes aren't just policies, they're personal. They affect real people, real families, and real futures. If any of this hits close to home, tell us your story in the comments. We read every single one. And if you found this helpful, watch our previous video for more critical updates. We pour hours into every episode, so if you'd like to support our work, just hit subscribe.